Well, the issue of whether Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein should recuse himself from the Russia investigation, well, that really came to a head last week during that contentious hearing in front of the House Judiciary Committee. Is that a possibility? Let's bring in Harry Litman. He's a former United States Attorney and Deputy Assistant Attorney General. Mr. Litman, should he recuse himself? Does he have a conflict of interest? What do you think?
It's a strange spectacle. This is the Republican Trump-appointed Deputy Attorney General, and they're really treating him like an errant schoolchild. I think what they don't realize exactly is that there is a whole career staff in the Department of Justice who opines on recusal questions. When I was U.S. Attorney and there was an investigation, maybe a witness was a relative, you go to them. You don't want to make these decisions yourself. We don't want them to make the decisions themselves. You go to them and ask, and in a case of this magnitude, he certainly did, and he's certainly following their advice. It would be career-ending if he didn't. That's exactly, for instance, what Attorney General Sessions did. And there's another point I'm not sure they're aware of, which is when you're not recused, you have an obligation to serve. Think about it here. If Rosenstein recuses, the responsibility for the probe passes to the Solicitor General, Noel Francisco, who has exactly zero prosecutorial experience. Just on neutral principles, that's a very hard position to put somebody in to supervise the biggest criminal probe in many years. So I think what we have to understand is he is not, it's not self-executing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's under tremendous pressure.
Yes, he is.
What do you see happening with this? I mean, according to the New York Times, he's told friends that he felt used by the White House because of that memo, on Comey, and some others say, well, he shouldn't be doing this because they consider him a witness who's investigating his own case.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I understand why people say that. He was something of a witness. Pretty tangential, though, Eric. He wrote a memo about Comey that the president said had no effect on him. It's not automatic if you're a witness that you're recused. I can see the argument for it, but I think the thing you always do is serve it up to the career staff. And certainly, you don't want the recusal decision to be based on political pressure. He suggested that maybe things could ripen in the investigation that would make it appropriate for him to recuse, and then he would. But I think what will happen is he will be guided unfailingly by what the career staff, who have the experience of all different cases of this sort, will advise him.
Well, it's the career staff that some are, concerned about, not handing over documents that have been asked for and subpoenaed by Congress. I mean, do they have that obligation? And do you think they're trying to cover something up, as has been alleged?
Okay, so very different question. I don't think it is the career staff that is making final decisions on what documents to forward. But on that, I would just say that it's very traditional for the Department of Justice to decline to give documents from a pending criminal investigation. Here they've given many more than have been given conventionally in the past, and they have very serious considerations themselves to try to protect and have to balance that with the oversight function. But that is Rosenstein's call, and right. I think there he's saying he's making it appropriately.
So you think he'll stay?
I think he will stay unless something happens in the investigation that makes career folks say, Rosenstein, now it's getting dicey. You should step away.
All right. Well, he's there, and the investigation continues, and you'll see how that plays out. Harry Litman, former federal prosecutor, thank you for joining us.